Hey guys, Jonathan here. Today I'm going to teach you how to wax and detune your edges on your snowboard. So first, you're going to need a couple things. Snowboard, wax, an edger, a scraper, a brush, screwdrivers to remove your bindings, and a file, and one of the most important things, an iron. So before I wax my board, I always tune my edges or detune them. First I'm going to sharpen them. I'll sharpen them to an 80 degree, and then I'll detune them. When you're sharpening your edges, your edge sharpener should have a direction in which you should move the file. Make sure you do long movements. You don't want to do short ones and back and forth. You want to just do one fluid motion all the way through the board. I do that a couple times on one side, flip it around, do the next side. Alright, after I sharpen my edges, I get my file, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to round my edges. That way, I still have an edge. It's almost like my fingers like this. So I still have an edge, so when I get on my toes or my heels, it will lock in to the snow still. However, when I'm sliding a rail, it's not going to catch easy at all. So take your file, just a downward motion, you're just going to round your edges. I just do once in one spot and then I move on to the next. Alright, big reason why you want to do your edges prior to waxing your board is your edges will get little chunks of metal when you're detuning them and sharpening them, and you don't want that to mix in with your newly fresh wax. So with that, you also want to wash your board before waxing, because you don't want to wax dirt into your board. After you're done washing it, just let it dry, and then once it's nice and dry, you can start applying wax. So I'm going to be applying two types of waxes. Today. Yellow wax, which is a 20 to 35 degree weather wax, and purple wax, which is a 10 to 30 degree weather wax. Because it's early season, it's still kind of warm, so I'm going to put the purple wax, which is 10 to 30, around the edges and a little in the middle, because that's what you're usually riding your edges. And then I'm going to take the yellow wax and put it in the middle for when I hit those slow, flat spots and I'm just riding my board flat. So to apply the wax, just take your wax, push it against the iron. Eventually it'll start to drip. Once it starts dripping, you just start going along your board. Now you don't need to soak your board with a ton of wax. I usually try to just get drips about an inch apart. Now I'll take my yellow wax and I'm going to put it in the middle. So a big reason why you want to remove your bindings is when you're ironing, the bolts will then heat up the inserts inside the board, and then you'll start to get bubbles where those inserts are on the bottom of your board. Then you won't have a smooth surface anymore. So we're going to take the iron, place it down, and we're just going to go in a circle motion till the wax melts, and we're going to spread it around, kind of get it nice and into all the grooves. Now you don't want to be in one spot too much, because if you heat your board up too high, you can actually cause the board to separate. You can always tell if you're in a spot too long by touching underneath the board and seeing how hot it is. Alright, now that your board's nice and waxed, you're going to want to let it sit for at least an hour, let the wax dry. I usually wait till the next day to scrape my wax and then brush it. So it's all up to you. Alright guys, when it comes to scraping, I like to use a plastic scraper, not a metal one, because I don't want to scrape my base away. But also remember, when you're scraping, the point's not to scrape the wax off, just the excess wax that's kind of piling up. Alright guys, the brush is the most important part when it comes to waxing. It gives grooves for when the water melts underneath the board to run off, which actually makes you go faster. So the brush, I personally think, is the best part, the most important part for waxing your snowboard. Once again, you don't want to go back and forth and all this stuff, just fluid motion all the way down. Alright guys, after you brush your board, you throw on your bindings. Something I like to do is I like to change my lead foot because I ride a twin board. So I was leading with the red side of the board going down the mountain, but now I'm going to be leading with the blue side. The reason behind that is I think it balances out the flex of the board. That way when I'm tail pressing or doing ollies on this side, my nose isn't stiff and I can't do any presses with my nose. So I like to just mix it up. I feel like it balances out the board. So that's how I get my board ready for the mountain. And see you guys out there.